But I think part of the thing for me is at this point, like the PGA Tour is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like they're just everybody. Like if you want to be a serious golfer, you have to come play the PGA Tour. You can't play a split schedule anymore with Europe, and it's becoming this self-fulfilling prophecy and kind of a closed system. Setting aside Live for a second, even with Asian Tour and Australia and all these places, to where like there's less pathways for the rest of the world to get involved and to get in the ecosystem versus, before it was like, yes, I know that they were underpinning some of these tournaments and giving them probably more points than they should have. But I think to a certain extent, like,
and the WGC's
that's
gone. That
good.
was an avenue.
That's good for the health of the game globally.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome to another episode of Straight Down the Middle-ish. We are joined by a very special guest. I was hoping I wasn't going to get a little starstruck here, but we've got No Laying Up's Tron Carter sitting on the casting couch with us today.
Good to be here.
And
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of talent on that couch so far.
A lot.
You're adding to it big time.
Yeah, probably one of the most well-known with the new age. And obviously you guys have, you and Barstool seem to duke it out every week for the top podcast. Pretty cool. Like, and not hanging shit, of course. I'm as complimentary as anything, but no one has played on tour or pro golf in either podcast, so that's pretty cool. I know Barstool, I think, has the biggest baseball podcast too, and then none of those guys could probably even throw it over 70. So it's cool. It's a new wave.
Well, y'all got a couple guys that can break 80. And
they have good players.
Oh, they have good players, but not played.
Not anywhere near. Having
I've
dreams
seen your
even when we
action.
were younger.
Come on, how old are you?
How old am I? 37.
Okay, yeah. So, does Solly still call you Tron? Does Solly call you Todd, or
no?
How does that work? Where did Tron stick?
Let's get in the origins here.
Yeah, so Tron is from Chappelle Show. It's just a stupid
Chappelle Show.
What's your favorite Tron Carter moment on the Chappelle Show?
When he wins the dice game.
Oh, that's so
and,
good. Bought this baby straight cash.
Yeah. He's the richest man in the world. Although the Mad Real World one was pretty good.
They don't want to see us work. They want to see us live.
So, but when we started this, I had a quote-unquote real job.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of...
You were in the hotel industry?
Yeah. So I worked for Ritz-Carlton. Didn't want my bosses to know that I was doing this on the side.
Yeah.
And it just stuck, and it's too late to change it.
Yeah.
It's very stupid. But, everybody calls me TC or TC or Tron. I think my mom and my wife are the only two people that call me Todd anymore.
Wow,
really?
Yeah, you came in and introduced yourself as Tron, and I was like...
It feels totally normal.
You are.
Like,
You're
if
Tron.
I see you in public, Tron, I'm going Tron.
I have never called you Todd in my life, and I never will.
It's really weird sometimes when I'm straddling, what do I introduce myself as? It's kind of a golf situation, but it's kind of not a golf situation. Like, I'll be at a club somewhere and a bunch of old guys, and I know they're going to ask, Tron, what the hell kind of name is that? But,
Can you just give us
your nickname, it's your brand.
Can you give us the real quick version of how No Laying Up happened, and then we'll get into the good stuff?
Yeah. So...
did y'all grow up in the same town?
No. So Solly and Randy and I went to Miami of Ohio together for college.
Okay.
And we ended up, we were just really into golf, liked watching golf, particularly Thursdays and Fridays, like West Coast swing. Like, weather was miserable in Oxford, Ohio. So we would fire that up. That was kind of, our way to keep in touch after college. And then we had this text thread. We turned it into a Twitter account. People said, hey, you should flesh this out more. We started a website. That was when we brought in Neil.
Who was doing the majority of the work there for all the running the Twitter? I mean, that's a shared responsibility.
Yeah, we kind of all had the password.
You
and
want to have the same voice, right?
Yeah, and that was, the more and more, the bigger it got, the tougher it was to kind of, have all three of us.
All right, we know this is Solly here.
Now it is, yeah. I was like, I do not want the responsibility because, you probably wouldn't exist if I had the main Twitter account because I was flaming guys left and right.
I love it.
I don't know how you do that.
I was immediately drawn to you.
I do it, then I delete my tweets straight away.
And then
I don't want to hear from this.
This was pretty early on too, and we didn't nobody was listening, nobody was following us. We just figured, all right, just shoot from the, just kind of shoot from the hip because I don't think if we set out to start No Laying Up as it is now,
sure,
we
no
would have
chance.
failed miserably.
Well, there's no way you could. You probably had some mega takes because nobody was listening and you felt like you could do that.
Yeah, it's like a barking dog. Just look at me, and then now I got your attention. Y'all can
Well,
do whatever
and
you
like
want.
Timing was good too. It was like
Yeah.
trying to like reinvent like the old guys with the pulled up socks. Like, let's change it. And I think everyone in the whole industry was trying to change it to attract the younger audience, and the younger audience want to hear people just fucking riffing, really.
Yeah, I mean, golf's like 4, 5, 6 years behind the rest of sports, the rest of society. So we definitely had advantageous timing there. But I think the important thing is we didn't really set out for it to be anything. Like, really, even when we started the podcast, we just put a recorder on a table. I was never really a big podcast listener, but Solly was like, "Hey, let's fire this up." I think the first 30 to 50 episodes, we had no clue if anybody was listening or not, but we were listening and we were having fun doing it, and that was all that mattered.
If you're doing it just to have fun.
When
if it makes money, great. If it doesn't, who gives a shit?
Yeah. When did you think you could monetize this? Is there like a moment you're like, okay, we got
Are we getting
here.
tipsy? Are we getting tips?
Yeah, I'll
Taking
take
notes?
all the tips I can get.
I think Rory came on. That was probably the first time Rory came
That's
on and
huge.
was like, "Oh, I love what you guys are doing. It's great for golf." Da 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 da. That was a nice kind of boost of credibility there. Jordan came on a few times. Like, we had some guests kind of, say, "Hey, I'm a big listener." It kind of validated it, and from there, it kind of gave us credibility with brands as well.
How big of an addition was DJ for you guys?
Huge.
Like
yeah.
massive.
Yeah, so Neil came on pretty early on when we started the website. He was working at Google.
He was doing both jobs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shit, all of us were doing.
And Neil is your
younger
brother.
Yeah, so he was out in San Francisco, moved back to New York. Solly was in Amsterdam at the time, working for KPMG. Randy had just graduated business school. He was going to go work for McGladrey. He lasted about 2 weeks there. Said, "Fuck this,
He's a legend.
I'm out." And then actually went and taught special needs kids in
What a man.
in school and coached basketball. And then DJ came on. I was living up in Boston. I remember like DJ was living down here, and that's kind of how I ended up down here. Was just came to visit DJ.
Yeah.
We had met through Twitter and kind of just golf media world, and then came down here for the Players and ended up liking it. My wife and I had our first son, and we were like, we got to get the hell out of Boston, so let's move down here. So then DJ,
Athlete, by the way.
oh, Freddie,
Yes.
Yeah,
and
flag football.
yeah, so we ended up, kind of striking a pretty good friendship with DJ, and then DJ was managing Scratch for the tour at the time.
Yeah.
Because like DJ started with the tour back when.
That's how I knew him.
Like
was
they had
from the
like
tour.
one person doing
Yeah.
socials, and now they have a team
Yeah.
of 100.
Wow.
Does he
doing
still
social.
have any say in Scratch or?
No, he
Turn
left the
that
tour
over.
completely. This was I think probably mid 2018, early 2019.
Okay.
Left the tour and kind of took a leap of faith with us, and it's been guns blazing ever since. I think for him, he came in, really manages our video stuff, and
Yeah.
then contributes to the podcast.
Huge Metallica fan.
Yeah,
He's a
DJ and Neil.
music guy in general, right?
Yeah, huge music guy. DJ and his wife Justine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, I mean, he's been huge as far as the video editing, and just really, he knows the media landscape pretty well.
Yeah.
He was a journalism major in college, as well. Where like, I was a history major. Solly and Randy were accounting majors. Neil was, I think, creative writing. He went to Columbia, so
Ooh,
who
Ivy
knows?
Leaguer.
Who knows what they're doing up there? He played
Neil's the only
football.
one I don't know, and I'm obsessed with him. He's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I'm
I don't know.
obsessed
Certain people just, whether they're saying something funny or not, you laugh. Like I got a few buddies like that, but he's one of them. He cracks me up.
And I think it's one of those things too, where like DJ, like it's like none of us came from like the world of professional golf, much less media either. So, and DJ kind of came from both,
Uh-huh.
being at the tour for 7 or 8 years, and then he was at Golf Week before that as well. So
It's it feels like a underground band, you're just trying to get discovered by a big label.
Yeah.
And I've always been curious about y'all's creative process and, who's doing there's a lot of roles that you have to share and how you can just stay in your lane and let this guy run. Like when y'all started doing video content of your golf trips, like
Yeah, you guys have so much content.
how
crazy.
What was that like? It had to feel awkward because we've done some stuff like that for a Live Forever Golf photo shoot.
Mhm.
I mean, you got to call the club, let them know that you're doing this, do it on
Yeah.
a Monday when they're closed. But when you roll up with drones and a bunch of cameras, like,
Early on, it was pretty. I mean, it's still, for the most part, we still try to keep it pretty run and gun. Like the first one
Like improv?
was
you
when
just
we
want to
went
stay
to-
out of people's way.
Exactly. Like we
Yeah.
play fast. Now we don't film as much ourselves. We have a couple guys with us, Cody and Ben. But really for the most part, like the thing that's gonna stink up the vibe the most is when you're traveling with an audio guy
Yeah.
and 3 or 4 cameramen and a producer and all that. It's like we're still doing most of the stuff ourselves.
But all those
Yeah.
YouTubers just do it. Like there's some guy, like the guy that hit the kid the other day. I've never heard of that guy in my life. Like I'm a little bit of an old curmudgeon, I'll admit it. But I was like, who is this guy with this audience? And this guy's got I don't know how many million followers. I'm like, fuck, I'm old.
Are you guys in tight with Good?
No, I mean I had nothing against them. It's just kind of it's not my thing.
Yeah, I don't get it at all.
They were out at Pebble when we were out there for the
I
U.S. Women's
legitimately
Open Media
never heard
Day,
of that.
Uh-huh.
and it was just kind of like I don't really get it, and I don't even get some of our stuff where like people literally just want to watch us play golf, and we've tried to make it not about us. And
I get that.
Like some of the feedback
scenery, like
has
that
been
is
like, no, keep the focus on you guys playing golf. There's not enough of you guys playing golf.
Yeah.
It's like that's not interesting.
Your character.
that Australian trip was all time.
That was basically like
Barnbougle but all like the plane. You're trying to scrap for a plane.
Yeah.
I'm busy with kids. I don't watch all the content, but that was an amazing series. And then you've obviously replicated that 10 times over.
Yeah, so Zach Blair just said to us, like, that was really early on. That was 2019, I think. And Zach just said, hey, like, I'm going to Australia for the Australian Open. You guys want to come
Tag
down
along.
and play some golf? And I said, yeah, why don't we, like, film it? And then we pitched it to Callaway and BMW, and they were in on it somehow. And
So
That
then they
guy's-
sponsor it,
yeah.
the trip. And
Yeah,
then-
and then BMW gave us 2 X5s for that, and then we went to Scotland the next year. BMW and Callaway sponsored that, and it was like, how can we figure out how to justify this trip?
Sure.
And then it's become, kind of it's like
this is
taking
what
on a
we
life
want-
of its own.
This is what everything's negotiable, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so from there it was kind of like, all right,
Yeah, they
like,
have
And
a
you
new-
guys
they-
have an agent doing all.
They have
all
a new
this
club
stuff.
sponsor.
we've got an agent now, but pretty early on it was
It was
just
just you
It was
guys.
just us.
Who's
Yeah.
making those calls? Solly or you or
All of us, really. I mean, we were kind of like, the first, like Callaway was the
who are you
first
calling
sponsor
it?
we had.
Harry at Callaway or
Harry and Chad at Callaway
Okay.
were kind of the first guys.
Too many arguments
and-
behind the
and-
scenes. Or?
all you guys are calling? Like, are you throwing Randy on the phone or is it Solly and
It was Solly with Callaway. I'm trying to think. It was a group of us with BMW. Neil handles most of it now. Like he's kind of our business ops.
That guy would be a lock in sales.
Yeah. Well, he was in sales before
Yeah.
for Google and YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, now it's kind of like there's 5 of us as far as kind of the main founders of the business. And it's one of those things where having an odd number of guys is nice from a voting perspective. And also like it never even gets to that. We typically kind of trust each other
Yeah.
and we see eye to eye on a lot of things. Like we're not similar.
Mm-hmm.
But I think our values and like our decision-making process is pretty streamlined in that front.
And also you build it literally organic, ground up. There's no reason to start pivoting and just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, that's something else too. Is we own 100% of the business, so like we don't have any outside money. We don't have anybody
That's
to
cool.
answer to that's
Okay.
going to tell us, hey, you need to
Speaking-
expedite this or that.
Speaking of outside money, Live in the Tour. Are
Yeah.
you guys sponsored by the tour? Like,
Fuck
are
no.
your takes influenced
Their
by?
takes are so hot.
Are your
They couldn't
takes
be.
okay?
So many people come at me and they're like, well, you guys are sponsored by the tour. I'm like, I've called for Jay Monahan to lose his job like 8 times in the last 12 months.
Oh,
Fair,
speaking of
fair.
that, do you guys obviously you're very secure with where Hoy is, but do you guys discuss to come in that hot? Because you guys come in and we've had a few things, which is great. I think disagreeing is awesome, especially you and I are very
You
similar.
have to have hot takes.
But you have a disagreement, and then it's who cares? Like I'm not going to hold against you. But do you guys come in hot because it gets more audience. Like, I'm not saying clickbait because it's not clickbait. You actually believe it.
Like, give us an example of what you're talking about, Pricey.
Or just
Like, give me a
okay,
hot
okay,
take
so
that
Toronto, I
you're-
disagreed on the sponsors exemptions for Phoenix.
Okay.
It was JB Holmes, someone else. And I do understand, of course, I don't have to agree, but I understand the other side. If I've got one good quality, I can see the other person's point of view. So JB Holmes wasn't playing well, coming back, whatever. But he was a 2-time winner and does, I'm sure, and then Ricky Barnes, I know, does a ton of shit with the Thunderbirds. And I'm not saying that they should have or shouldn't have, but that's what happens with the Thunderbirds and all these people. Like,
totally. You got to play the game.
Yeah.
The game within the game. I get
and the
that.
kid that you've been on his back, like, he's
Who?
he's got a tour card now.
Ludwig.
Yeah, he's great.
If his name was Steve, would you like him as much?
Probably not quite as much.
Okay.
But, you know,
No, the guy's a
Ludwig's
stud.
my guy.
And I am a huge fan of that guy getting a tour card. I've said
Yeah.
that once
Yeah,
Liv
that's
came
a
on, they've got a pivot.
awesome
They've got to get
change.
the
Good
college kids
business.
in.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, like I just thought it was a real
So,
come in strong take.
So, specifically on the Phoenix thing or on the Thunderbirds thing, Ricky, I get it. You know, lives there, went to Arizona.
Won there.
Yeah. No, Ricky never won there.
He didn't.
I don't think
No,
Ricky's ever
he lives,
won.
won.
he lives
Ricky's
there,
never
but he
won.
does
Yeah.
a lot of Thunderbirds.
Are you talking about? We're talking
charity
about
stuff.
Ricky Barnes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ricky
Oh,
Fowler.
So
Rory Sabatini.
but JB Holmes hadn't played at all. Like hadn't played,
Yeah. No, I
A
hear where you're
lick.
coming from.
you know,
And there's only
misses
two-
the cut by a mile at Farmers, doesn't tee it, like could tee it up in other tournaments to get reps, and he doesn't, and then he just wants to rock up at one of the new quote-unquote designated events.
well,
Right.
now
I
he
have a
Are you
rocks
problem
up.
talking
with
about
that.
Jonathan Bradley?
Yeah, now he rocks up in scrambles.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to come out a week from now, but I don't understand. When someone told me that, I was like, I bet you $100. There's no way that's true. No
Right.
pro
I thought the
golfer,
same thing.
No pro golfer would
Yeah.
ever do that. It's just, you don't want to appear and like earn money from being someone else. Like, that's the opposite of what your fiber
It's
is.
a theft and deception right
it's
there.
just-
Come on,
that's-
JB Holmes.
and it was for,
he
like-
did, Matt, didn't he change his
For
name
nothing.
to JB
Because
from
of
Yeah,
John.
in
it was
college- in
John.
college,
Hey,
he was
that
John
that
Holmes.
golf bag right there is signed John Holmes,
Yeah.
the Walker
Walker
Cup
Cup.
one.
I had some
Uh,
huge duels with him, I don't know, junior, senior year. Like, I won one. He was John Holmes.
Yeah.
Then
I
he was-
just I have a
understand
problem
why he
with
went
it
to
in
JB,
general.
by the way.
Like
What-
I think he plays slow as shit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's like at Farmers a few years ago.
Oh,
he's
that was
like-
just mean what he did.
That was
Molasses.
that was cheating in my opinion.
It's hard to believe that someone could have that little self awareness.
Mark-
Or respect for themselves or their opponents.
yeah.
Mark
Right?
Hensby just did a Facebook thing, which is not public, it's private, and basically just said, I don't get it. Like, I played with guy, like, I don't know who he played with at the senior PGA, but he's like, if you take more than 40 seconds, how are they not penalizing?
It's
How's it,
crazy.
how's it different
It's
from
because
other rules?
it's because I'll tell you why they're
It's
taking
not
more time.
enforced.
Well, it's just
When
rarely-
he's saying it
rarely
needs to be
enforced.
enforced. It just, like, have not a shot clock, but I don't know, if you're a serial offender.
too much caddy involvement.
No, I mean too much caddy involvement, the aim point stuff,
Yeah.
but just like guys not being ready when it's their turn. Do the work.
Yes,
before
especially when
it's
you're the
your
longest
turn.
hitter. Like JB Holmes, the long hitter, he should be ready. The longest hitters are never ready. So
Yeah.
I swear, I played with JB Holmes the first week he was slow. It was senior year, Caves Valley, the final event, the NCAA. He had just seen Rotella, and I don't know, I'm not bagging Rotella, but apparently Rotella said something like, "Don't hit a shot till you're ready." Well, fuck me. I was a crazy person, as you know. Like Spencer Levine was sort of run the same way on the course.
Yeah.
So one time, Mays, my coach, and I was playing pretty good, top 10 or something, and he took 2 minutes and 4 seconds to hit. I was timing him. I brought a watch with me day two
Oh god.
to hit a 5-footer in the rain, and then he missed it, and I was like stomping
no.
my feet. I got nothing against JB. He's a nice guy. I
He
got
smells too. He doesn't wear deodorant.
You must see my text. You must see my text. Yeah. But that was the first week, and then he's continued it on. Like, he's had success. He won his 4th ever tour event. He won Phoenix. The guy's a talent. He's a superstar. But something's going on when you try and play as someone else and then use the handicap for the Tron Carter and take money. How do you sleep? That goes into, I think, more than sociopath.
I read a little
Next
bit.
level.
I read a little bit
Yeah.
about it. He said it said that he used that because he used the fake name because they didn't want the team to get bid up during the Calcutta. I guess I don't know if
If there's money on the line, you can't.
bad.
You can't. You've
obscure
got to
who you are.
You got to
That's
disclose you're a good golfer.
You get pulled out on the putting green, you do that at another course. I mean,
That's how you get your ass.
How do you
beat
not
or
That's
recognize
like
whatever.
JB
the
Holmes?
fish and weights and fish.
Exactly.
You know, same thing.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell?
the more you can label
We
slow
got a
play,
pro golfer over here.
I just think the more you can label it, as you said, as a cheater.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want that stain.
Especially when it's that malicious and you know it. Like, you know it's a problem. Your competitors know it's a problem. The tour knows it's a problem, and still you choose to do nothing about it, and the tour chooses to do nothing about it.
We know Matt's brought it up a few times to a certain.
It's
Probably every rules
well,
official.
Just slow play in general on the tour is by far the most selfish thing you can do is be a slow player.
And then all the excuses of, well, it's slow anyway out there. Well, you know what, man? We
Nah.
got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
There is only one thing and one thing ever that causes slow play. It's not slow. Well, fast greens a little bit, but 98% is slow players. That's it.
Yep.
You could play in a field of 30, and if Kevin, usual suspects are in the first few groups, everyone's taking 5 hours
Yeah.
because they're behind them.
Matt, what about PGA guys getting to use guns out on the course? Do you think that sped anything up? I mean,
I don't think
Would
it's
that-
going to
would
be
that
enough
speed
to
up-
do anything. It's still it's not going to take away from some guy.
Micro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not.
It's
The
macro.
issue is
I still love seeing it though. It's just so awkward to watch a guy use
Yeah.
a Ranger.
here's what's nuts to me. You're going to see it with Ludwig very soon. This guy has been going through college as just a complete stud, all right?
Yeah.
The only help he's had on the course is maybe his head coach on a par 3.
I will say the coaches are a problem.
But
in these college
here's where
events, too.
here's where I'm going with
Yeah.
this. All of a sudden, he's going to get a caddy, and he's gonna forget how to hit a stock 8-iron. He's gonna need someone to tell him
Yeah.
this is an 8-iron, and that's fucking nuts to me, dude. It's like, what?
Yeah, I agree. The caddy should come in like,
You are like the best
specific
in
situation.
You're the elite of the elite.
Like, this is what got you here. Yeah.
Nobody knows you better than you, and you're gonna need some other guy's approval. On
Are you sure you
how
want to
to-
hit driver here? I think it could be a 4-iron.
Right, it blows my mind, but that's a huge problem in the game right now. It's over involved, and you see it with some of the elite players. They'll have a conversation on the tee box for a minute about the shot. That never used to happen.
It
dude.
seems like AJGA does a pretty good job with all the pace of play stuff at the junior level, and then
That's where it's got to start.
these kids get to college and it goes off a cliff.
Did you see what Brooks said last week about pace of play and how
Yeah.
you start penalizing or
Stroking
calling them
dude.
cheaters because they're
Stroke 'em.
Let's stroke
yeah.
'em.
I that was my go-to move for years, dude. Was just calling officials and telling them the group in front of me was cheating.
Speaking
They
of
were taking
Brooks,
too long.
if we don't want to segue out, just tell me. But is it public knowledge of what happened at the Live event last week with Brooks and his team?
What happened?
So it's not.
Hold on.
I
I
know-
talked to
I-
Canning today.
I know a
Canning's
lot of
running
stuff.
that team.
Well, he must know. What
Canning
happened.
is running.
Is he still running the team?
So
Do
okay.
you know something about a workout?
Yeah, I heard about a workout. I've heard
Then they
a
all-
few different things about last
Well,
week.
let's
so
hear
they,
it.
It's not-
they didn't,
it's
they
not
didn't
public
play well the
knowledge,
first
but-
round, and he's like, guys, down in the morning, 6 a.m., we're working out, and Brooks got his trainers like,
So this is
he called
him,
it a team?
Kokrak, his
Wolf.
brother, and Wolf.
yeah. And
Called a
then
team workout.
I think Wolf, mate, there might have been tears. I don't know. His brother threw up, and then Kokrak couldn't tee it up.
Hurt his back, right?
Of course.
Hurt his back, or just
Guy's
like he
never
was,
worked
was,
out a day in his life.
was jelly, and then I think Wolf played the next day. No, I don't want to start something here. I don't think.
I think some
I
stuff.
think it's funny as hell. to
I
hear
think
it.
Brooks was trying to test him. I've with the camera smiles. Like, I think that's a freaking ballsy move.
I
Like,
love
hey,
it.
guys. Let's fucking
So
go. We're
Wolf
a team.
is not.
Show up.
So Wolf is scrap. Like his stuff is all scrapped from their site now.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, I know.
Well,
So
I
we
heard,
noticed
I
that
heard
a
he
couple
may
days
have
ago.
the Q word. I heard he may have.
Yes.
Really.
So he withdrew, and then I guess big falling out there.
Brooks is winning me back.
So
Big
Canning.
time.
So Canning.
Huge.
so my agent. He represents Kokrak as well, and Brooks's agent also has. Who's he have on tour?
Brooks's agent.
Yeah.
He has,
It's it's a stud. It's like a really.
got, like,
John,
He's got what, DJ? Like he
No.
is he with the
No,
guys out of
it's-
Dallas, Hambrick?
yeah.
Blake.
Blake.
Who else has he got? Yeah, someone huge. Like John
Anyways,
Rahm or
it's somebody
someone.
big on the tour, and
Okay.
he just doesn't want to deal with Liv. So Kevin has assumed the responsibility of being team manager for, what is it? Team Smash? Is that what
Smash
they are?
GC.
Smash GC.
Yeah.
So today I had to call him about. I called him about something else, but I was like, also, what's the latest with Matt Wolf? And he goes, Team Smash will have no comment at this time. And I said, what is that? And he goes, you're part of the media. I can't tell you. I was like, come on, man.
Team Smash.
Fair enough. I think
they're allegedly worth $2 billion.
I asked him that too. I said, are you part of this $2 billion Nike deal? And he goes, yeah. He said the phone's been flying off the hook.
I think Kevin's a smart man for not leaking too much to.
How about all this stuff last week about how much Brooks has been involved in all the meetings for LIV?
That threw me for a loop a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a student,
Well, he just doesn't seem like he's all that engaged with all the LIV stuff in general. Like he's just like,
up.
I show up, I
which
guess,
is fair enough. Like, he shouldn't be really the one trying to.
Yeah,
move
I'm not
that thing
blaming
forward.
him for
Turn
it.
up, sign autographs, play your ass off, shoot 65.
because he was like, that was interesting to me. If he didn't take any sort of opportunity to, promote LIV or say this is what this means for LIV. This is about my career and my comeback and what I've accomplished, and
Interesting he didn't go on, Pricey pointed this out, didn't go on a media circuit after winning PGA. He just went straight to the Panthers game and right up
Adam
to the box.
No, he went somewhere else before that.
But
The restroom a few times.
they can bring it to him.
there's not many guys that don't do the whole circuit. Well, he's won 5 times, but
What a
Adam
freak!
Scott didn't do it either.
What a freaking stud though that guy is, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
It's crazy.
Are you kidding me?
One for each finger.
You still don't realize it until they put the records up. Like in the modern day era, he's the best.
and he missed a wide swath of his prime
Yeah.
due to injury.
Mhm.
Did I? I think we talked about this last week.
doesn't make sense.
No.
It's weird. It's freaking impressive.
Did we talk about this last week about like the vulnerability of an injury? Like I never had one, but I bet you Brooks Koepka was thinking at some stage like, I may never break par again. Like there's guys who are studs and they go through 2 or 3 months of a slump and not playing good. They literally think that this could be it, especially with the guys that get 35 plus, and then they finish 4th and it's like I'm going to win next week.
Mm-hmm.
The life of a professional golfer.
Not many guys
we did talk about it. It'll test you.
get better with age like Brooks has, and that's like he wasn't a world beater. Hasn't won a lot on the PGA Tour, but he's won 5 more majors than Tour wins.
I thought some of the
wild.
other stuff that
Lee
didn't
Jansen.
land with me was like the stuff with Claude saying like, oh, everybody was shitting on Brooks, and like it was actually the opposite. It was like everybody was saying LIV makes more sense for Brooks than it does for anybody else.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The guys who have a questionable body or injury hanging over, of course.
And a guy like Brooks who has said repeatedly and demonstrated repeatedly that he doesn't need to play in regular tour events, that he doesn't give a fuck about him, that he's, that's not how he's preparing. And, he's proven it once again.
Yeah.
Self-belief.
The Claude stuff was a miss for me.
I thought the motorsport analogy was decent. Like you don't have to like NASCAR and Formula One. Like I thought that was something to everyone just relax, stop taking sides, stop being politicians, let them work it out. Free market capitalism should take care of everything, and just if you only want to enjoy one, do it. If you want to enjoy both, enjoy both. If you don't want to watch any, don't watch any.
How much LIV have you watched?
Probably watched 6 or 7 of them.
Like how?
Not
30
like the
minutes,
whole
an
way
hour?
through, but yeah, I've watched. I'm trying to think. I watched the finale last year. I watched Boston last year. I watched a little bit of Singapore this year.
Sentosa, good place.
I watched a little bit of the Australia one.
Are you watching because it's your duty to watch because you're part of the media?
A little bit of both.
or-
I think like the final day, I think is interesting. I thought the team stuff last year was by far the most.
I think the players feel
Interesting.
that way too.
And then they moved it, like they're moving that to Saudi Arabia, and it seems like
That
they've
may
lessened the
flip back.
team stuff.
That may come back apparently.
But I don't know. It's just like to me, there's nothing. The first and second round doesn't do anything for me. There's not a whole lot of context either.
Mhm.
Like it's just shot. You don't know what any shot means. You don't know. The courses aren't like that's what. Like I like watching good courses. If they played better courses, I would probably watch more.
Yeah, hard to get up for Orange
a
County.
prominent tour player, I won't mention his name, he's like, what do you bet? What would you think if it was no individual, just teams? It's like, don't you think that would be more interesting if it was just the teams?
I'd like to see 2-man, 2-on-2. I mean, it gets lost in the shuffle when you have just, who's in the foursome, what the group's doing. But
I think the tour needs to pivot and make John Deere these lesser events. Like, imagine you, Koepka, and I don't know, whoever, you play in the same group and you play like a best ball, like low ball for the group. Like, I think they need to do.
Well, on the team stuff with Liv, like, what's the deal with, like, all right, if Wolf is off of Smash, why aren't they leaning into that and saying,
right, who's
hey,
going
you
to
know
be the
what?
next
There's
guy?
free agency, or
Right.
there's trades,
Yeah.
or you know what? They've traded Matt Wolf and cash considerations.
I found
Which
this
I think
out.
is a thing. They should do that. It'd be
Right?
great.
I found this out today too. Not only are the
Breaking.
bottom four being relegated at the end of the year, but there are also numerous players on the Liv that in their contract it says if they are not in the top 24, they're out. So there's going to be a lot of guys on their way out. Not just the bottom four. There's going to be, whatever. And if you're Brooks,
To guarantee your spot, you have to be top 24.
do you save your
without a
brother?
contract.
Do you save your brother if you're Brooks?
It would kind of fly in the face of everything that he espouses,
Yeah.
right? That's a good question. I think it seems like he's done something good for his brother, and now it's kind of like, all right, sink or swim, man.
Right.
Yeah,
he gave him a
having
great
workouts
opportunity.
and running guys off of his team.
Yeah.
He's opportunity to rebuild for
Wild.
24.
Love it.
Brooks, I've been training, bud. I can hang in
All right,
this
so
workout.
so the
I
thing
saw him
is,
do 4 push-ups.
is there another
Impressive.
wave of guys that are jonesing to jump? Has the money dried up a little bit? Like, that's.
I've heard
I think those are the interesting
That's
questions,
interesting,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and like, are these kids out of the PGA Tour U? Are they being contacted by?
Yeah.
Like, do you
Oh, I
think
know
your
there was a
boy-
kid at Arkansas that was getting, Greg was in Arkansas last year to see him, or like, I was shocked to see that Puig kid go.
What about Ludwig? Do you think he was
That guy's
contacted?
good, by the way.
No, or Ludwig was contacted, or his reps were contacted, and he said, I have no interest whatsoever.
Wow.
I've asked him that point blank.
So like Ludwig, are you gonna switch your avatar to Ludwig?
No, it'll never not
It'll-
be Spencer.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's Spencer
Where did
Levine,
Where did the Spence stuff start for you?
Oh, like the
Shinnecock?
2004 Shinnecock,
Yeah.
man. That was the best. I mean, it's,
Oh, that was in his prime.
Yeah.
that was signature Spencer Levine, right
yeah,
there.
Yeah. My buddy Brett was the first alternate for the U.S. Open that year.
Okay.
Brett Lang. I
Yeah,
think
I know
he
Brett
played
Lang.
against him.
I know he is Vandy.
Yeah, and Brett,
Redhead.
like first overall alternate, lost to Thomas LeVay in a playoff at Setting Down for.
I played
in
that
one.
I was one behind him.
And so Brett, like Brett shot 68, 66, I think, and Furyk hadn't played in like
Scott Weatherly qualified.
9 months, and
Wow.
I don't think Duval had played in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And Brett goes up to Shinnecock, nobody withdraws,
Mm.
and he just sits with his dick in his hand on the range for 4 days. But that was the Spencer Levine. Like, I was already kind of keyed in on that tournament. It was the Spencer Levine week. It was they lost the 10th hole.
Oh, it was nuts.
It was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
everything about that tournament was awesome.
I love Shinnecock. That place is
It's
so
sweet.
cool.
And
Clubhouse.
but yeah, Spencer, like, he had the ace that week.
Yep, on
Pop collar.
Made
cigarette.
the cut.
Sig.
He's standing there with Phil and
Oh.
at the trophy presentation, and then all these stories
What do you finish 13th?
start coming out about him and his dad getting in fights on the
Dude.
course.
Oh,
And just
the
I'm
great
like,
Don.
this
What a
is my
legend.
hero, man.
I have like 500.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
got
just
a few.
can't. But they are so good, dude.
And then his career from then on out was just like, it was just so up and down. Like, he transferred from, he was at UCLA, New
Yeah,
Mexico.
Yeah.
And I just loved I love the up and down nature of it. I love the fieriness. Like, I mean, shit, I still get bummed when I think about Phoenix that one year.
I got another one for you, dude. You're spot on. The guy's got like a heart of gold, but
Yeah.
does have that fire. But he's a huge sweetheart on the inside.
But he cares and
Oh,
he
he
lives
does.
and
Is
he's in
that
the moment.
genuine. Oh
Is
yeah,
that the
it's
guy in
genuine.
Californication? One
So-
of the characters, you got to root for him.
The
He's
same.
Yeah.
up and down.
I
Great
think
show.
I
Great
think it was
show,
the
by the
same year. It was the year Tiger made the flop shot at Memorial on 16
Okay.
to win. Spencer was leading going into the final round that year, and a bunch of us were staying at the Embassy Suites right next to the course, and we were down at the bar Saturday night, and something was on TV. I'm forgetting what was on TV. It was a playoff, like in NHL playoffs or basketball or whatever. So Sports Center is on, and it's myself, Spencer, and Steve Marino, and they're running these highlights. And there's fans at the tournament that were just there, staying and having a drink. They had no clue the three of us were.
What a trio!
And
by
they
the way.
they show
Three men walk into a bar.
Hey, they show Spence and Tigers, a couple back or whatever, and this guy goes, "Oh, that Spencer Levine is gonna choke his guts tomorrow or whatever."
Yes.
And Spence is right there, dude. And it was like,
Did he say anything?
Marino said something to the guy, yeah, big time. But I know it messed with him a little bit. Like he's a kid, man. He really is. He's a sweet guy. What a talent too. Like
I was so happy.
hits it
earlier
straight.
this year.
No, dude.
But to persevere,
Yeah.
I finished college the same time, 05. Him, Ryan Moore, and myself were the Hogan Award finalists. And I can't believe he's still persevering. Like, I got to take my hat off to that dude. Like, what a fucking legend.
I
Like,
mean, he's
serious.
11th on Corn Ferry. He got his first
But
win.
that year
in
he finished
Texas.
50th on the FedEx. It's not like the guy hasn't tasted success and he's still
Right.
trying to, climb the mountain. If you're climbing the mountain, it's easy. It's easy. If you've never had the taste, you're still going to get it. He's tasted it, come back, had a couple of kids.
Quit
Makes
drinking.
it fucking hard. And then he's still, like,
Quit drinking. Quit
Monday
smoking.
qualifying,
Quit
winning.
smoking.
He's doing what you do out of college.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, seems so
To
fucking
taste
Dude, he's
success
so-
and then go back out on Corn Ferry Tour
It's
and grind
10x.
is like
It's
Yeah,
10x.
That's special. He is.
That is special.
He's so good.
He loves golf, though. He fucking loves the game.
I love it too if I hit it as good as he did. I
putter.
mean, it's like
He
every
loves-
shot.
Well,
is
obviously,
exactly
he lost
what
the
he's doing.
putter. He was the
tinker,
best
yeah.
putter. Him and Ryan Moore were the two best putters by a mile.
now
in
he's got the
college.
fucking Happy Gilmore.
The
Oh,
hammy.
looks, looks,
The
looks
The ham.
terrible.
Split grip.
Hey, speaking
working.
of Brett Lang, he quit golf early.
Yeah, Brett.
What's he doing?
Brett tried to chase distance a little bit when he got to Vandy. I think they
He was
fired
talented.
the coach pretty early on, or the coach left. And I mean, Brett hit
He's a
every
smart guy
every
too, right?
fairway, every green, and he just never really quite made that leap to college. And then actually he Mondayed into a couple Corn Ferry events.
Yeah, but then all of
a
a
couple
sudden
years ago.
he was sort of gone.
Yeah, he just didn't. I think he just lost the fire.
Okay, and he's
So.
got a job.
Yeah, got a job. He's in sales in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Actually,
He's a good kid.
What is your
Fellow ginger.
As we,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
like mega ginger,
I love
very
it.
ginger.
I've got a soft spot for all the gingers.
how do you handicap this match today between the Gators and Georgia Tech?
I struggle with Georgia Tech just because
They got
There's
pull
match
cards.
plays.
they're just
it's a
a
coin
bunch of
flip.
You
squares.
can't.
man.
They really. It's the most Georgia Tech team too. Ugh.
It's like the it's like a tale as old as time, right? Like ever since they had Kuchar and Carlton Forrester and all those. It's
Chesson Hadley.
Is that-
and
is
like
that
I like
Forrester?
some of these guys. Roberto
Chesson's
Castro.
great. Yeah, Roberto.
But it's just
Roberto
like-
broke the mold there for sure.
Yeah, but it's like there's
Another
like
ginger.
the pleated khaki gang is
Ginger.
kind of.
Ginger.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been all right with Tech. They're harmless.
Oh, they're totally
like-
harmless.
yeah.
It's
They're
a
big
great.
nerds.
It's like the best school out of like all these major colleges as well. It's just a matter of. I'm not really a huge fan of that Castillo kid from Florida.
What do you know about them?
I don't know. I've just watched him a little
Yeah.
bit. I don't really care for. I like Fred Biondi though.
Me
He's-
too.
yeah.
Boy, that guy's got it going
Dude,
on.
that guy's got a
good
lot ahead
looking
of him.
guy.
Punch
Good
his
looking
ticket.
guy and good at
Brazilian.
golf. Look out.
He's gonna be very. He'll have plenty of sponsors. That kid. He's gonna
Yeah.
be just fine.
Do you not like the puka shell necklace? Is that what it
That
is?
certainly
part
plays
of it.
into it.
It's gotta be
yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. It just
Yeah.
seems
And
like
then
a
our
bad
other
look.
guy,
It's never been a look.
the other
See-
guy that we have, John Dubois, wears his glasses on the back of his hat all day.
which I know is a big red
It's a
flag
big
for
deal
you.
for me. It
I
is.
thought when he was going to get interviewed yesterday by Paige McKenzie, there was going to be some French accent pop out, and he's like full American. But
See, these are hot golf takes right here. Making fun of puka shell necklaces, guys that wear sunglasses
Well-
on their head but not over their eyes. What else? We got white belts.
How about
Yeah.
the dude from that poor guy from Florida State just lost it though when,
That's
when
hard.
Ricky
That
made
sucks.
that, like that was a tough scene.
team nerves is another thing that
Yeah.
with the live some of those guys out there aren't playing well on certain teams we're friends with. It's hard. It's not hard when you're playing great, but when you're like
Exactly.
2 over and you know your scores count, it
It's
fucking makes
way
you sick.
different.
It
That's
makes
what
you
I was
sick in the
telling
stomach.
someone this morning. When you're under the pump and you're playing good,
It's easy.
usually you see guys hit good shots under pressure because they're fucking striping it that week. But when the 3 or 4 guys out there just scrapping it around and trying to figure out a way to not fuck up more than the next guy, like that's where it's at for me.
Just keep it between the mayonnaise and the mustard.
Yeah, you could see I really enjoy watching this national championship.
It's
obviously
best.
the Gators
Yeah.
are in it, and that's part of it. But I also the nerviness of it all it's very attractive.
And match play is a totally different beast than stroke play.
That's definitely a culture difference between Australia and America. Like college football, I still, 21 years in, cannot believe how big college football is. You're watching a bunch of like accountants. Like there's some pros there too, but in Australia that doesn't fly. Like college golf and that, like amateur golf, no one watches it. And I'm not saying we're right and wrong. Of course, I love that it's free market capitalism.
Like, pricey part of it too is like I think down in Australia, you guys play so much more match play.
Yeah, love it.
Like I think match play is so underrepresented here in the States.
How is the tour not going to have a match play event next year?
It's crazy.
Right.
You know the course they should use. I think I've tweeted is Hartford. The back 9 at Hartford is perfect for match play.
Agree.
There is 3.5s, 4.5s. The 16th is whether they statistically want to finish. It's all right there.
Yeah, it's nice having. I mean,
They could
TPC
reroute
Sawgrass. That was home of Tigers win in the AM. They had, I think, the only event they ever hosted of that type of nature.
They've
But
got to work that match play.
you got to play those last 3 holes with water and also a chance to make birds and eggs and flip the script.
It's wild how little creativity and just outside the box thinking there is at the tour.
They don't understand their audience.
There's
That's what I've said
there's
about a
no
lot of
willingness to try anything new, to try I mean, even the whole like
They're
new
starting
structure has gotten watered down over the last 6 to 12 months, and it's like, all right, we're back to where we started, man.
Yeah.
Except for now you got a bunch of pissed off sponsors that are getting hit up for a lot more money, and
that's the most interesting part to me.
But that's where I'm like, change some of the formats.
Totally.
Have a, I don't know, just have a best ball event. Like, you still have your individual event. I don't know, but change it up a little bit.
event.
Get the young. Have a 9 club event. Honestly, I don't know. Do whatever you want. I want to ask you about LACC, US Open come up. I know you were out there a month ago.
Yeah.
Did you
thoughts?
You get to play it?
Yeah, I've played it twice before. Then I played it this year. Actually, we've got a video coming out tonight. Me versus Solly.
Oh, nice.
Out there. But yeah, played it. It's awesome.
Did you beat him? This will be out after it.
I did beat him, but he was giving me strokes.
Okay.
He was giving me like I think 3 pops.
All right.
So,
All right.
yeah, it's
That's
just
a good match.
really, really proper golf course.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is it a big arena or a small arena? Medium.
It's not huge, but it's pretty. Like there's connectivity between different parts of the course. You can see, especially on the back 9, you can see.
So they're going to be
3 or 4 holes.
Will they be able to have like this massive crowd like Phoenix at 60,000?
No, it's going to be very, very like even smaller than
Intimate.
Brooklyn last year.
Okay,
How's,
cool.
how's the
That's what
parking out there?
I like that.
Well, yeah, I think they're going to park people at
LAX.
at one of the malls over at UCLA,
Yeah.
and then shuttle people over. Like that's going to be the most interesting part early week is just the logistics of it. Like
Yeah.
they're building a road or building a bridge over Wilshire Boulevard.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a logistical
It's not
nightmare
bad.
moving people around that site too, because there's so much like it's pretty chopped up on the front 9. Like there's certain tee boxes and greens where there's not going to be
Anyone around
any
them?
fans within 200 yards of that.
Could it be like logistically? Could it be Shinnecock stuff?
Marion
one road
stuff.
in and out, like Shinnecock stuff.
It'll be similar to Marion or Brookline last year.
Yeah.
Like Brookline last year was really, really tough.
How many of these major courses are y'all going to visit and tee it up? I mean, you can't talk about the course unless you
Yeah,
played
we
it,
try
right?
to get to, like I've been to a lot of the British Open venues. US Open, like it's at Pinehurst next year. I've never been to Oakmont. So I need to get to Oakmont before 25.
She's big. That's a big arena.
Mhm.
Yeah. But most of us have been to Valhalla for next year. Yeah, no. Valhalla and Quail. It's like what the hell are we doing?
Exactly.
Man?
Both of those. They're just so.
We've seen way too much of it. There's so many interesting golf courses to go to. Like I feel like the PGA of America, the venue rotation looks good after like 2026 and beyond. I think Frisco is going to be awesome in Texas.
Dude, that's where they just had that senior event, right?
Yeah.
Scott, you're onto something about playing something if you're going to talk about it. Like I struggle I'm so lucky with the PGA Lives. Literally, all the ones I've done, I've played. In Canada, they asked for next week, and I can't do it anyway. But I was like, how do you commentate on a course that you haven't really been on the ground? Like, I guess you can fake it, but
it's tough too. Like with some of these northern courses as well, to like get there same year before the tournament, like
Right.
Canada or like Oak Hill, right? Like you got to plan it out the year before to get up there and go up August, September, October. Otherwise, it's cold and and then the course is pretty much closed from the time they open up for spring all the way through to the tournament. So, but yeah, it's definitely it definitely makes it a lot easier to talk about it if you've gone and played it.
But you didn't see this coming. I mean, however many years ago, you're like, just playing a little golf. Now I get to do this.
Yeah, it's
Scouting
cool.
trips.
Write it off.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
almost-
like the
Paid
USGA
to
is
do it.
great about setting up the media days. Like
Yeah.
we did that one, and then we went up to Pebble for the U.S. Women's Open Media Day.
What'd you like better?
I think Pebble is like the most overrated course in the United States.
Dude,
It's
our
just-
I
our
like it,
takes
yeah.
are very similar.
it's great real
I like
estate.
it.
Really
It's-
good real
it
estate.
could be
if
like
you take the ocean away,
yeah.
if there's no
Spyglass
just as
is
far as a
better.
test of golf too, on like the time of year it fell on the tour, if there's no wind at Pebble Beach and the weather's nice, that's one of the easy. It's
Yeah,
like
it
playing
is
in
a
Palm
snack.
Springs. It is.
There's some good holes.
It's highly dependent upon. There's some great holes,
There's
but there's
some
also
rubbish
some
holes.
there's
dog
some-
shit holes
that
too.
could be a bad take because you could say it about St. Andrews too. It's the same thing.
But St. Andrews, all the holes have like intellect or like kind of the character and the strategy to them. Whereas I think Pebble like 15, 16, like 14, 15, 16, and then 1, 2, like there's just not a whole lot of
Yeah.
good stuff. I think 3 is a really, really cool hole.
Four's cool because it's
Yeah.
strategy of that bunker. But I agree. That's how my own weird way to judge courses is how many shitholes does it have or average holes. That's why, like, weirdly enough, like Lancaster Country Club in Pennsylvania. has
Lancaster's awesome.
One bad hole, 17 unreal holes. I just did our trip in Chicago. Beverly Country Club, maybe one, like a half bad hole. The rest were awesome. Like,
But Pebble too
So
is like
good.
it bothers me because there's so much. It could be so much better. Like the potential is there for it to be just unbelievable.
they needed like a restore. Have
Like
someone
on
come in.
like 8 or on 9 and 10, like you're playing away from the ocean to get a better angle at the green versus, and there's 30 yards of rough there between the cliff and the ocean. It's
So
the
you're
same
saying
thing
it
with like
should be risk reward. You should have to go down.
yeah,
Right.
or like the greens are just so shrunken, and it's the same thing with Torrey Pines. Like I'm just but it's also like it's a good tournament golf course. It's just not my cup of tea. It's the kind of place you go, you get a whiskey ginger at the turn, and it's $45. It's like that's just take it away, man.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Speaking
Stash
of golf
it in the
course,
bag, baby.
what about Tree Farm? How was that?
It's good. I'm biased. I joined,
Ooh, national.
but yeah, I've been up 3 times, actually 4 times, twice since they opened.
I was going to go with Doc Redmond last weekend. He went up. Zach owns that land, right?
I mean the club and Zach's kind of the managing partner.
So I heard he bought the land himself.
Yeah, and then kind of
So he-
brought
he
on
like-
founding members and all that.
He
but-
earned money doing his thing, and then he just threw it all in. So pretty ballsy.
Yeah, I mean I think he's done it in a
I love it.
responsible way. But
Okay.
but yeah, it's great, and Aiken's awesome. I mean between Aiken Golf Club and Sage and Old
Palmetto.
Barnwell and Palmetto,
Palmetto.
like
God.
there's so much good golf up there right now.
Never done any of those.
Really?
Next trip, we got a trip.
Palmetto is just a
Looks
throwback.
beautiful
Yeah,
in the
that's
photos.
They're
a
redoing their
must.
greens here shortly
And
too, I think. But
Tee
yeah,
tee markers that you do not want to kick.
What's it cost to get into Zach's place right now?
that's a good question. I
Do you have
think
to be
it-
invited?
You
Like,
just said you joined.
Yeah, I don't know what it is right now.
Oh.
I think
He
it's
just
gone up.
Cut a
Okay.
check.
I think it's yeah.
Like over under 50 grand.
I think it's
Over.
50.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
You sometimes want to hang.
Wow.
I think like well over.
Sometimes like I do
100?
like
I think it's up close to that at this point. Yeah.
free market capitalism. You can't
Good for him.
you can't argue it. And I was like, how did Zach all of a sudden just be like, hey, I like architecture, and then he's like the buff, but I'm not gonna.
He did it like Zach. I mean, going down to Australia with him, even, or like I've played a bunch out in California with him, or like we were out at San Francisco Golf Club, and he looks over and he's like, I can tell so and so did that hole. That's not Tillinghast right there. And sure enough, the guy we're playing with is like, yep, like Doak did that hole, or
Wow.
like he's got a
that's
great eye
pedigree.
and he's got an unbelievable memory as well.
He's from Utah,
He's from Utah.
and he's just settled down in Aiken. I mean, you can't leave that property.
He found I think Doak and another guy had been looking at this property for like a decade, and unbeknownst to Zach found it. Had it's all sandy soil. It was a tree. It was literally a tree farm, and
like pines.
yeah,
the pine forest.
like longleaf pines, and basically, makes an offer on it, like action oriented, goes and does it, and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna figure this out," and then. And then brought to Zach's credit too, he brought Doak in kind of after the fact. Like I think for Zach, it's not about like, oh, I designed this golf course.
Yeah.
Like he wants it to be the best possible golf course.
He's
in any
not out
case, not
there-
the best possible golf course that Zach's designed. So he's, him and Kai and Doak did, Doak unlocked some stuff on the routing that I don't think anybody else was capable of like thinking of. But there's so much variety. Like the 18th hole is a 270 yard par 4. The first hole is a par 3.
Love it. Unique.
There's just so much variety out there. It's so fun. It's a great match play course.
But I give the guy credit. He's not out there like, look at me, I designed this. The guy's so chill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, very behind the scenes. Wanted to get your take on the Ryder Cup and what the future of that looks like. I think Rory came out and said something kind of weird. He thinks that Brooks should be in on the American side, but he wants to leave some of the Euros off of the team. Like, how can you have that take?
I see a little bit of the reasoning there where
Earning your spot.
the PGA of America, it's the PGA of America on this side. It's the European Tour, or whatever they're calling it, DP World Tour on the other
Okay.
side, and they're suing
Yeah.
that tour. And like the shit that Sergio said of like behind closed doors of like, you guys are fucked. This tour is a joke. Like, it's like the guy like spit in everybody's face on the way out. Whereas I think like Brooks and
That's
DJ
fair.
haven't really.
I love the way they've handled it.
They've been like, whatever. Like we're
Yeah.
going over here, and that's why like nobody's turned up the heat on them, because it's like they made a decision. They've seemed content with their decision, and they've been relatively classy about it. And I don't think that. I don't think that same, like if it was, let's say it was, I'm trying to think of an example. Like if it was Bryson, for instance, that had just won, I don't think people would be coming out and saying, yeah, I think Bryson deserves to play on the Ryder Cup team. Like nobody wants Bryson on that team.
I think
They want the locker room guys, DJ and Brooks. But like, let's say
I do think Bryce, just real quick, I do think Bryson slimming down and looking more
less Bryson.
Yes, looking less. Yes, he looks a little more innocent now than he did before.
He's been awful quiet. He used to be everywhere, and like Liv has killed his social media presence. I'm curious about world ranking points, and let's say a guy like Harold Varner just wins last week. Let's say he wins, 3 more live events this summer and just goes on a heater. I mean, how does a guy like that get stature again, because he's going to fall out of his exemptions into the Masters? And
Well, that's my hot take. They need to get some points to live to it. And everyone's like, oh, well, there's a process. We're not talking about a tour in Bangladesh. We're talking about established guys who've got careers who can still play clearly in majors. So I just think they need to. I don't care if only the top 10 get, only the top 8, top 6. I don't give a shit. But if you win the event, you can't get 0 points, and that's
Tron,
same
how do
question.
you do it though? Like, I think part of it is, like, you're playing. All right, like the top 20 to 24 guys are credible golfers, and then you've got like Siwon Kim and Andy Ogletree,
they
who's
shouldn't
playing
get points. Yeah,
well right now. But like,
Right.
but what happens if one of those guys wins and they shouldn't even be in that position to begin with, because they're not. Like they haven't really earned their way into anything, or also like I think one of the other issues is there was a quote earlier this year. I think Sebastian Munoz was talking about like there was a team component going down the stretch, and then I think it was either Sebastian Munoz or somebody else, and he basically said, he's like, yeah, like I knew I couldn't 3-putt for the team component, so I didn't go for this putt. And it's like, you got to factor that in, because there's 2 different concurrent competitions going on.
Right.
Now, that's not to
fair
say
enough.
that, like,
I never thought about that.
I think the world ranking points for other reasons as well are not in a good place, to begin with. I think they've totally cut the legs out from the European Tour of, like, they've made it to where the only tour that matters now is the PGA Tour.
The Australian Tour used to get, like, the smaller ones, like 6 points. Now you get, like, 1.5 points. Like, it's a tier 2. I understand it. But my whole thing with the whole world ranking points is I always thought they don't give enough points to the winner. I would take some away from second, third, fourth, because winning, it's so much different than finishing second or third. It's like a psychology. I think it should be rewarded. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that. I freaking don't sit in on those meetings. But if you win a tier 2 or even Australian event, you probably should get, like, more than 1.5 points.
But the PGA Tour has been weakened. They lost, we'll say, 48 guys to another tour. Yet they're
we'll say 20 to 25.
You know what I'm saying? But they've been weakened, and they're still getting the same. They're still getting the same amount of points.
That's a fair point too.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean,
and those guys that were getting them, they're not getting them anymore.
It's the same thing with, like, last year, like, all the guys that dropped out from, that, like, guys that are 140th or 145th on FedEx Cup got bumped up inside the top 125. There's something there too. Like I was at Colonial last week. There's definitely less depth out there. Like, there's less.
You see it in,
the top tier guys are still the top tier guys. Like, Victor was out there.
Yep.
Spieth,
but you can
Fleetwood,
see the depth stuff at the Players Championship. It was noticeable this year with some of the names, and then you can also see it at the match play. I saw some names in that match play. It used to be the match play. You needed to be 66 or better. There might be 1 or 2 guys that didn't play.
Yeah.
This year with guys falling out with the live, and then
you're effectively like 85.
It's like
getting
like 98's getting in.
Maybe 80.
But I think part of the thing for me is, at this point, like, the PGA Tour is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, they're just, everybody, like, if you want to be a serious golfer, you have to come play the PGA Tour. You can't play a split schedule anymore with Europe, and it's becoming this self-fulfilling prophecy and kind of a closed system. Setting aside live for a second, even with Asian Tour and Australia and all these places, to where, like, there's less pathways for the rest of the world to get involved and to get in the ecosystem, versus, before it was like, yes, I know that they were underpinning some of these tournaments and giving them probably more points than they should have, but I think to a certain extent, like,
and the WGC's
that's
gone. That
good.
was an avenue.
That's good for the health of the game globally, right? But I don't know how you fix it. I mean, like, I think the majors could probably rise above some of it and say, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to give exemptions to these 4 or 5 live guys that we think have played well based on form, and make it kind of an unofficial thing.
Yeah.
At least have the Masters or the PGA Championship do that. I don't think the RNA or, the USGA is probably going to, I don't know. And there's probably so much more shit coming down the pike with, like, the antitrust regulatory stuff coming from.
Can't wait for that.
Like,
that's apparently huge. I don't know anything about it, but
Phil's cooperating with Phil's, like, bringing stuff to the U.S. government. It's
unbelievable.
Yeah. Wow. I heard some crazy Phil rumors last week.
Oh God, none of it would surprise me
just
at all.
Crazy shit.
They're all true.
I'll tell you what, man. When I got done with one of my rounds, he was teeing off it was the first round, and he was getting announced. We were riding right by him, going back to the compound, and
at the PGA,
they went nuts for him. Yeah, there was no negativity.
It's so weird because he's like done such a 180 from when he showed up at Augusta and, like, wouldn't talk to anybody.
Yes.
Oh,
he's gone. I call him Dark Phil, like Dark Brandon here.
I think majority of the golf fans, honestly, that aren't on Twitter, don't care. It's just like the Twitter is so loud. If you're on there, it's like one side this. I think the real world.
It's a good point.
People just want to see golf, and you pick and choose, like the whole Formula One, NASCAR. Whatever, it's going to work out. The world ranking points, I think, will work out.
Part of it too on Twitter, Pricey, is just like you can't have a conversation with anybody on like any side with it.
It's a shouting match,
and, like, there's so many bots. It's fucking crazy how many bots are out there.
They take like week-long breaks,
like troll farms that are just straight up, like, I swear there's got to be,
like, when you say a bot, you mean like it's pretending to be a person.
Yeah, or like one person is managing, like, whether it's Live hired or somebody else, like, that's managing, 50 different accounts, and they're just
say that
flooding the zone and spamming the hell out of it.
Maybe last one, Chambly.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that. I love the beef that Phil had with Chambly. Like,
I mean, I think Brandl's.
I think he's so important.
I think
in golf.
he's both like. I think that Live From was really, really good when he had a good foil. Like when Nobilo
was amazing on
and
that
those
with
two
him.
would go at it, and
That'll never get
it
replaced.
was a good like counterbalance to Brandl, because Brandl was everything was like overly rational and very much like from, hey, this is how I think, and with
everyone else is wrong.
With Frank was like, this is how I feel, and he
Right.
was very emotional and everything, and it was a good counterbalance. And there hasn't really been anybody on there to kind of balance
McGinley a little
Brandl
bit,
out.
but McGinley will jump back and like go, oh, I can't understand. Like, he's so nice.
And with
McGinley.
Paul, he's just not on there consistently enough these days to like, kind of be that person.
Mhm.
And I think, Brandl's so self-righteous, and like
I think-
self-important.
he's
and
a
everything.
T-sip, man.
But it's like you,
He's awesome.
you know,
dude.
you
I think he's
you
the
just
best.
need that because he's so well researched.
Yeah.
I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff.
Same.
He's so haughty, but like, it's the same thing with like I love watching Stephen A. Smith, right? Like
Oh,
he used to be a novelty. I think Stephen A. Smith is actually like
He's
he
coming
he
around.
brings it, man.
Mm.
It's whereas, I think with Brandl, I think he's a dick. I think he's self-righteous. I think all that, but it's good TV when he's on there.
Imagine he wasn't on
pontificating.
there. Imagine like for the next 4 majors or the next year, he goes, guys, I'm taking the year off. What would the Golf Channel do?
Mm-hmm. Fill it with
If
Matt
he's not the
Every.
highest paid,
No, they
if
wouldn't.
he's not the highest paid employee there,
they're
like,
fine
what's
with
going
being
on?
right below mediocre.
Have y'all ever had Chambly on?
Yeah, I think we have had Chambly on. Chambly did a 180 on the ball on the rollback.
Did he?
Okay.
Like
Which
big
way did he
time.
start?
He started pro rollback, and now he's very anti-rollback.
He probably got the research from the equipment company.
Dude,
Yeah.
the equipment companies, the research, if you're
Oh,
on either
man.
side, it
I was
definitely
talking to
makes
a
you
couple
think.
players today who they got the USGA presentation
Oh, really?
yesterday or a couple days ago, and then they're like, yeah, it's crazy how different the graphs look from the USGA
Sure.
versus
Like
versus
Titleist or
the OEMs
Callaway's
and the
or
Tour.
I
Taylor
will say one thing that I didn't think about is TrackMan is it. I don't think there's anything behind TrackMan that makes you more efficient. Like these guys, like Cameron Champ, like I don't think they can get any more. They can with the ball, but the ball needs to stop. But I started thinking like, how far we need to prove for the next 50 years. I now think that
Part of it-
humans are done getting the most out.
Part of it though is like if you just add more spin to the equation,
Yeah.
even if you keep the ball the same, like if the ball goes the same distance but you add more spin to the equation, I think that would be great because it would be very much like, you
miss the
not having to
exponential.
control your spin as much, A, and then B, like I think the size of the driver is just too fucking big. It's
Yeah.
gotten
Yeah,
like
It's
it's
a fucking frying pan.
Yeah.
Bring
yeah,
it
it's the
back.
easiest club in the bag to hit now. It's like
Yeah.
it shouldn't be the case.
No.
I hit it off
It's
the
not
deck
for
every
me.
chance I have. I hit it off the deck. It's so you could.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
That was a hard shot back in the day off the deck.
It's not anymore.
No, it's simple.
It's like the easiest shot ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I just because like I come back to venues, right? Like I want to see the tour and professional
Okay,
golf
Oak
play
Hill
the
this
best
year,
venues.
pretty solid venue. We just had 7. What won that tournament? 9 under Brooks.
12?
No,
But
9.
Yeah,
Augusta
something in
this
that
year was a
neighborhood.
very fair score. They had some weather. But I also think it does get Mickey Mouse. I played Westchester a couple of weeks ago. It's like 6,400. Seth ran it past 70.
Is that a bad thing though? Like good scores,
No,
guys getting out there
But
and
it's
playing
just
some
as
good
hard
golf?
if you
Who
put it up
cares?
on like a. You can't have 18 tough pins, but you
Right.
can have 666. Some of those pins with 70 yards, if you're off by 2 yards, you have to be a magician to make 4.
I thought the setup at Colonial last week, like they could do whatever they wanted, and the greens were almost like too
Yeah,
firm.
they're
oh,
digging
it's
it up,
So good
yeah.
when they do that.
They were purple.
And normally I like it, but weirdly on that course, like watching them, like I love seeing guys struggle at say Sawgrass or
just day in day out. You'd rather see
when they did that a
struggle
few
than
years ago at Muirfield Village,
when
like
they let it go.
Yeah, but like weirdly at Colonial, I was like, this isn't fun to watch.
Yeah.
So they're like it works on certain courses and it doesn't on others. But I don't know. I just think like if you add spin back, you don't have to manipulate things as much. Like the rough matters more than.
Well, the player has to manipulate because do they want to be in the rough? It's like the
I'm saying setup wise though.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like you don't have to make it as Mickey Mouse. You don't have to rely on conditions quite as much.
Yeah, I completely agree. Your misses are exponential.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Pricey, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
What do you think we're
questions?
getting wrong on Liv?
What do you
what's
think?
wrong with Liv?
What?
No, like-
what do you think no laying up's
Yeah.
getting wrong on Liv?
And granted, we all have our own. Like, there's 5 of us. There's like 9 of us, and we all have our own opinions on it. I'm probably the most. Wouldn't say pro Liv, but like
open.
I definitely open and I think there's good elements to
So
it.
it's a conundrum. I think you guys shouldn't be too worried about Liv. It'll take its own course, but also that's your content, so you have to have an opinion. I think it's different from the tour, and I'm not like on either side. My own take is obviously we have friends on either side, and those guys, it's different. It's more entertainment. It's like a horse race. It's like a Formula One race, and that's what they're going for. And I would say if people haven't been to one, go to one physically, be on the grounds. It's a good vibe with them. I think I caddied in Saudi Arabia last year, and when I was first there, put the bag down on the putting green, I was like, this music is fucking weird. And then by like the end of it, I was like, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it takes you long. And I think someone, it wasn't Alex Maselli, someone wrote an article, they went to the Orlando one, said similar thing. So don't knock it till you try it, but maybe don't knock it till you try it.
So what can they?
I don't think you guys have whatever.
Cover it. Are y'all going to go travel and catch?
I'm going to try to get to one this year. Yeah.
Where are you
Valderrama
thinking?
would
Where are
be
you
great.
thinking?
I'm thinking probably
Jersey?
probably the Bedminster one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Of
go.
course, it's tough.
What are the dates? Let's plan a trip.
I think
Pitch
it's,
it to Trump. He'll take care of the trip.
Straight down the middle is the podcast of the Live Tour.
It's. I mean, Pricey. I hear all that, but that makes me, because like Cam's my favorite play. Like
Same.
Spencer Levine,
Ah,
Cam,
you like good golf.
Lee. Like I
Yeah.
Obviously love Leash.
Mm.
DJ is one of my favorite players of all time. Like I think there's really good players playing on Live, but it just doesn't, like you said, it's like entertainment. It doesn't seem like serious golf when I've flipped it on, and that's where I struggle.
I think that doesn't happen all at once. It's a new product. I think it does gain strength, that aspect of it, and I think I think they're trying. Well, there's probably a few guys that aren't, but there's a few guys that don't try hard on tour either.
Totally.
If they're 3 over through 9,
But
then
there's
that-
140 guys in
Sure.
the fields, whereas there's
48.
48 and they're handpicked, and 20
No
of them
cut.
are like ceremonial,
Right.
golfers out there. Whereas I think too, like I have a really hard time taking Greg Norman seriously. I think he's a fucking buffoon, like straight up. And I think that message is kind of like seeped through to him of like, he's not out front anymore.
No, he knows that.
And they've said like, all right, cool. Like we want to like bring the heat down. We probably need to get Greg.
Yeah.
Out of the way.
look,
Out of the
they're a new
equation.
entity. They've
Mhm.
got a lot to navigate. I don't think anyone is in denial of that, and they got to continue to navigate.
They're
stuff you
not
do
even a
as
year
a-
old. They're not. Their
Yeah,
first
like I was
event
saying,
was
the tour
June
is
last year.
the tour is like a machine because
Uh-huh.
they've been around 70 years. Like
Yeah.
they're well oiled. So
I would say they're oiled. I wouldn't say they're well oiled.
Okay,
You know,
they're
I
oiled.
The tour, like
But from
I
an
have
event,
we could do a whole podcast on all the shit that I hate about the tour. So
I fall in the same boat as you though, with not being able to take the competition seriously. Like before Augusta, when Brooks won Orange County National, I put zero value into that.
like that's a dog
Thanks.
shit golf course.
But then,
Like Tulsa, the one in
to-
Tulsa was so bad.
But he shows up
Orange
the
County
next week
National.
and plays well. It's just gonna over time. I think time
Don't you think
will
it did-
fix everything with this.
Yeah, same. And do you think it's elevated them? I think it's elevated the majors.
That's the big thing. It's like the majors are,
Mhm.
in,
Mhm.
and I think the other thing that could elevate the majors is if the USGA follows through on this model local rule, and the tour doesn't accept that.
Yeah.
If they're playing a different ball just in the 4 majors, or really 3 majors, even let's say the PGA of America doesn't
Yeah.
do that either. That's just 3 majors. That then differentiates those that much more.
Well, you think
and the
they
tour-
do that?
I think they would. I don't think there's
That
any
would-
way the tour is going to accept the model local rule.
That would fire some players up if they did that.
But like, it would be fascinating. It
Well,
would be chaos
for the media side. It would be, but it'd be
I'm
chaos
for
everywhere.
like trial periods. I think they
Be chaos for
whatever they do. Let's go. Hey, we're going into like a 2-year trial. If the tour doesn't accept it, hey, we're gonna have a special ball. Don't be like, this is what we're doing. Just be like, let's trial. Like new speed limits going from 70 to 80 or something. Let's trial it for a year. So we'll see. But we'll see what the USGA does with all that data that we've seen. It's going to be interesting.
If Liv pivots on their format and moves to a 72-hole event, and it has Monday qualifiers, like they need to be able to start on 1 and finish on 18. Make this thing a little bit more easier to consume.
Sunday they should do a U draw, like a small U draw. So
Yeah.
at least everyone's finishing, and if Leishman plays 5 groups, in front of Matt Jones and shoots 65, he can go back. I think they may be missing that element. That's maybe like different from the product they're trying to do, but I think like just a U draw on Sunday.
I don't even have as much of an issue with the 54-hole thing. Like, it is what it is.
I don't have an issue.
I don't either.
It's just a matter of like, like, all right, what's the point here? Like, why are we doing
It's
this?
the same guys every week, 24.
But that's
the things that don't line up for you with Liv. I fall right in line with you on them. The same exact thing for me.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. I know 20 of those guys out there. They're great players, but they're not 40. I don't want to hear that there's 48 guys out there. It's just like there's not 144.
It's like when I'm watching the Mayakoba one and watching Charles Howell III and Peter Uihlein, duke it out, and Charles Howell III wins by 6 or 7 or 8 shots, and I'm like, you can't tell me that like this is a deep field. Like I love CH3. He's a legend, but like that's not, and then
a champagne bath afterwards.
Yeah, it's just like it's outrageous.
Way to go, man.
Right? And I think like there's certain
it is fun for the players though. Like,
I bet they're having a blast.
like,
Are you kidding me?
What do you think the most fun of the week or of the year is Ryder Cup, President's Cup? They're playing for no money.
Dude.
No money. It's fun to do team shit.
They have team shit with a ton of money and less golf, 3 days, and no drug test. They're having a blast out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's something like the team names are fucking stupid.
Oh.
I think they're going to change over time once
Just
the
clip art.
sponsors.
I will
mean,
say the Rippers.
Great
The
Clips.
Rippers is the best name. Though.
Absolutely.
That's an Australian thing. It's
The
a ripper.
Ripper.
Yeah. I think the
Great name.
the Majestics are a joke. The
Cliques.
The cliques.
The cliques.
I have a
I've got a
soft
clique
spot
over
for the
here.
cliques. The cliques.
I think
my
Arlo
my
White
guy
is good, though.
Blandy.
I love
poor guy.
Arlo White. I love when he's like, the Crushers.
The Crush.
That's
the guy-
that's
he's the guy
the
of Ted
thing
Lasso.
too.
He's
You got
great.
Arlo White and Dom Boulay
Mm-hmm.
and Sue Ann and like some and Fultzy and some of those guys. It's just so outrageous
It
the
is.
shit that gets said on those broadcasts.
Well, it's got to be weird.
But I think they're trying to be like halfway between you guys, like more like relaxed rather than buttoned up and suit and tie. Like they're just trying to have a bit of fun out there. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I don't know, but they're trying to incorporate a little bit.
It's got to
of
be
like you
weird
guys in
calling
Boston.
golf in that fashion.
It's
too.
not.
It's-
Yeah, but they're trying to do that, but also like there's no self-awareness to it either. It's like you got to have some self-awareness if you're going to do it that way.
Yeah.
Let's bring in the local charity guy to talk about the benefit this week.
Yeah,
Can you
right?
see that with
Yeah.
Fultzy and
I didn't see
love
that.
guy. No, they don't do it.
Oh,
but-
okay. Yeah.
But to give you some of the same product that you're used to seeing on an 8.
I mean,
on
yeah, and
Sunday.
that like we could rip apart the tour broadcasts too. Like that's
You guys do.
that's well worn
You guys
territory.
don't
But
hold back.
they've
Hey,
improved.
I love when you do that.
They've
Keep doing it.
improved.
But I will say when you guys had what's his name who got off of CBS, Konica Minolta, BizHub,
Oh, Costas.
Costas. That was amazing, and I was like, oh, maybe the No Layup guys are going to pipe down here because he's like, hey, we have to have so much for FedEx, we have to have so much for local. It's a hard piece. Golf is moving. It's not like baseball or like when things are going to be planned. Like one guy takes too long, one guy takes too short. It's so hard. The
Yeah.
production is a nightmare. The live one's insane. Like with all those moving parts, I was like, maybe these guys may. Okay, that sort of makes sense. Don't agree with it, but I understand it. Nope, you guys kept hammering them.
No, well, you know what? CBS got a lot better though.
Okay.
CBS like improved like crazy. Seller Shy came in, they rethought some things, and then I think NBC's taken a big step backwards. They've added so many commercials, and a lot of it comes back to the tour. The tour's loading up so much extra bullshit.
Yes, it's
into
money. It's money. It's sponsors. Yeah.
But then the tour, but some of it's even just beyond the money of it's just not smart. Like there's so many house ads. There's so much
Yeah.
extraneous bullshit in there where I think the tour kept saying things are going to be different when we get to this new TV contract. Things are going to be different. Things aren't different. It's the same bullshit.
I know one thing. It's above my pay grade. I would hate. That's not what I want to do in my life. Try and figure that out. That's hard. Sorry.
Getting back to the announcing, Brandel real quick with Nobilo. I know we moved way past that. I feel like Frank Nobilo is being extremely underutilized.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
guy he belongs in the studio.
I wish he would put himself out there a little bit more.
He's so good when he
CBS.
opens his mouth.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, did they lose a lot of that? I don't know, not the talent, but the lifestyle, moving out of Orlando up to New England.
Well, that wasn't CBS. That's Golf Channel.
Right.
And, yeah.
But like they would do that all in studio in Orlando, and you got a ton of tour pros.
Oh, okay. You're saying,
we're talking
so
about-
Noblo would
talking
come
about-
into studio a lot more.
I'm
yeah.
also talking about like on set, like the
When they're
live
at the
from
majors.
at the majors
Yeah.
after with like Duval, Nobilo, and
Yeah.
Chambly.
Get Duval
like,
in there.
those
He's
three
great.
were
I like him
great
in that.
together.
I think
They
they
were.
did lose some of the soul of Golf Channel
that's what
moving
I'm looking
out for sure. Like it's the same people now cutting highlights for hockey that are cutting highlights for golf.
Right.
It's like they're not golfers. And Golf Channel, like the lack of programming just in general that they do is insane.
I'm
Like they're
What do you do if they approach you guys to run like your series where you're in Australia or Scotland?
They have approached us and we said no. Like we're
good
not
for you
interested.
guys.
Like it's just
I'm
like
sure there was some coin there though.
it's like square peg round hole though, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like legacy legacy
selling
TV is
out.
just not where we're at with
You're
that.
selling out.
But like
You're
we
going
had a
mainstream.
blast doing the ESPN Plus stuff.
yeah. You
couple
guys,
weeks ago, like, that was
it's perfect
fun.
for you guys.
And it's like I don't want to do, the 4 to 6 p.m. window on Saturday or Sunday afternoon when the golf is like
Yeah.
really meaningful and good. Like I'd love I like doing the early round stuff or the 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. like coffee golf stuff.
Yeah.
That
Well, you need a bit of fun. Yeah.
exactly.
Stream
Um,
4.
Question for
ESPN
you,
Plus.
going back to the not to hijack this, going back to the pace of play stuff. Something
Mhm.
else that pisses me off a lot on the tour is all these guys. Every time somebody has any sort of ruling,
Yeah. Oh, they don't
They-
have the
they
balls
call
to
a
do
rules
it themselves.
official. Like,
it's unbelievable.
it's crazy to me. Whereas like Rory like had a simple thing from like a drain and took the relief himself and everything. It's so few and far between how many guys will actually do the ruling themselves, even if it's cut and dry.
It's like nobody will. Nobody will.
I think it should be like a
And you-
challenge flag in football. Like you get one ruling
yeah.
a day or 2 rulings a day, and you
Yeah.
like learn the fucking rules.
So I'm following
That's a good point.
JT and JT Poston and Max Homa Sunday.
I don't know
at,
the rules. So yeah. I
At
should learn
PGA.
it.
JT hits it against the bleacher, and he's gonna get relief, and he called an official, and I'm sitting there, and it took a while for this guy to come, but I'm sitting there thinking, how many times has JT Poston gotten relief?
gotten
from a
TIO
bleacher?
for,
like
yeah.
like 100. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe more. I mean, you everyone.
Well, they're
but
just scared of getting a
it's-
penalty because someone calls in or someone's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like it's...
And I don't even blame the players at this point. It's just like the tour needs to do something because
Yeah, someone's
that's a
gotta-
pace of play thing.
someone's gotta bring
like,
that up.
They haven't been incentivized to take matters into their own hands, but
Should there be a rules quiz at the start of the year?
100%.
Just a little more power given to the other player in the group when that situation arises. Like, hey, this count on him as your
No,
rules.
just
official.
Just
accountability.
take a
That-
drive
that's what
over
they
here.
should do. If someone like...
Be a professional.
No one's going
It
to
goes
conspire.
right into the
So, I
to
like
the
that.
owning your game and
Yeah.
not needing someone to tell you how to do things. It's just
A no
part
caddy
of it.
event would be
That would be
fascinating
sick.
too.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
with push
hey,
carts.
might be on something.
Like Barbasol or something.
I used
And
to
you
be
gotta
anti-push
you gotta
cart.
you gotta
I'm
ca-
push cart.
I used to be anti-push cart.
It's
no
so
more.
easy. You push
It's-
them down the hills and shit. They're great. You can get a remote ones. Remote control. My
Come
dad
on.
has one with a remote. You don't even
Guys.
touch your clubs. It just pushes it. It's like on your hand.
Yeah. I don't know. It just gets back to with the tour though of like it's the same thing with TIO relief. There should be a designated drop area
For all-
with gnarly ass rough on a side slope. If you hit it into the bleachers or if you hit it into the hospitality, there should be a penalty for that.
I love that.
That's a good
That's
take.
a thing for you guys. I know it's a big thing for you guys, and it's definitely something everyone's aware of out there when there is a bleacher and there's trouble short.
Did
like,
you see the one
blow
on
it
the
into-
senior tour a couple
Oh,
weeks
like
ago?
when they're behind
in
the
Atlanta?
greens?
Was it in Atlanta?
No, it was in
no,
Birmingham.
The one,
at the
Oh,
at the
Regents.
Shoal
Regents.
Creek?
Yeah, no, at was it
Greyhawk.
Greystone?
They
Okay.
moved
Yeah,
it.
the like 18th hole.
backboard.
There's a lake
Short
over the green.
over the green.
And I think there's a lake short, and there's hospitality like right up against the green.
Yeah.
dudes are taking 1-2 clubs extra and just firing it straight into the hospitality and literally banking it off of there back onto the green.
Oh, that's so good.
Maybe that's another tournament. We have like backboards on the back of the green.
Outside the box thinking right there. I love it.
It's crazy.
put it
Or
there, I'm gonna use it.
you get 1 yell per round.
You've got to call bank.
Yeah.
If you're going to use the backboard, you got to call
You
it.
gotta call it.
Like, I mean, it was
if
like
you duff it, it's a shot. If
it
you
was
duff
like when
it's stiff.
Rom hit it over that fence at the PGA.
What was that all
On
about?
Saturday or
Back in that
Sunday.
group.
It's like, yo, like
I'm the reason.
there's
I'm
a fucking fence there. Like,
Yeah.
how is that not OP?
I'm
Is that
the
a
one
rugby
that
court?
told him. I told him that. I
You
go,
told him
dude.
he's out of bounds?
I told Penna, Cam's caddy. I said, hey, in the rules meeting, in the production rules meeting earlier, they said there's 2 fences on this, or 2 like out of bounds, or the road was out of bounds this hole, not the fence. I don't know if his ball's in between that, but you might want to check. And then they looked. He was walking back to the tee, and I didn't want to say anything because I wanted Rom to blow up. He was real close to going there.
He was
And
He got
destroying
there.
the microphone.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he
dude, he
did.
beat the
He's-
crap out of some.
We see that on
microphones.
PGA Tour a lot. Like, that guy's an animal. He's the best.
Yeah.
Mic check.
But and like Rom, to his credit, he's done it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I've talked to him about it, and he's like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, man, like it is what it is. But like the whole like, it just kills me sometimes that like all this TIO relief.
Yeah. How
Like,
do you not know?
There should be like,
rule.
you know what, like the course shouldn't play harder for members sometimes than it does for.
I like your suggestion. Have a drop zone and have it like
They did that at
Unmowed.
Portrush a couple years ago.
I got one that I think
Savvy.
about sometimes. Okay. Just because it's a recent example, Oak Hill number 3, the par 3 last week. They had a tee that was at about 250. Okay, they just played a major championship there. If they're not playing that tee box, who the fuck's playing that tee box on that hole?
no one.
But why didn't they use it?
Well, I think they probably had too many long par 3s as it was out there.
Why build it?
It's a great
Well,
question.
because it could. I don't know if it's.
If
dead
they're not
still and
using
it's
it,
soft.
who's going to use it? The
Uh-huh.
best in the world
Yeah.
are coming through. Why aren't we utilizing?
I wish they would have had a little bit more variety.
It's like
day
3
to
at
day
Marion
out
too.
there.
They don't use that tee. We played the other day and it's like not even really mowed back there.
He's just dropping all these courses.
Dude,
Dude, he's
fucking
checking them
unbelievable, dude.
off.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. He's
and,
such
and
a
I
whore.
don't even care. I love it. That's what I
whatever.
like to do now.
What's your favorite course, Pricey?
I think Marion was up there. Probably Pine Valley has. I don't like the 5th hole. I don't love that 5th hole.
Come on.
It should be like
Sick.
170.
It's
170.
the hole.
From fucking 250, it's like a par 8.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like number 4 at the Tree Farm. It's the exact same.
Is it 2?
Is it a
distance.
replica course?
It's not. No, it's like it's a different hole, but it's the same.
I love it from
Doak
180.
basically said like this is the
Levels.
first place I've ever seen that we can actually build pretty much the same
Really?
hole. Yeah,
That's
it's cool.
sick.
I do love it just from 180.
What's your
Not
favorite
too
course,
thick.
John?
Pine Valley's up there. I love Kingston Heath. I think Royal Melbourne's probably a better golf course. I love Royal Melbourne too. But I think there's something about Kingston Heath where like if I could play
It's got some amazing
that
short
place, it's like this. There's so many layers and it would play different every single day if you played out there.
holes. That 3rd hole, that short
Yeah.
par 4, what a hole. And
It's
the pins
all-
on the back.
Yeah, there's something about like a small golf course,
Yeah.
like a tight piece
Where
of
is
property.
it? I'm ignorant
It's in
as hell.
it's in Melbourne, like
Yeah.
like right down the street from Royal Melbourne.
They're all
Austria.
So
in-
uncultured.
Good day, mate.
That's up there. The old courses, I love the old course.
Mm.
There's a course called Ely
Yeah.
down the road from the old course. That
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Atlanta, one of the
Atlanta.
shittiest golf towns in the United States.
Yeah, it's wild.
There's
yeah.
so much bad
I like
golf in
Piedmont
Atlanta.
Driving Club. I thought that was an amazing
Yeah.
property.
There's a lot of courses that
They could
tough
do
to
more
get
with
on.
it, but the back 9 is spectacular. That's
It's cool.
Cool
I mean,
down there.
I wouldn't
It's
call it
cool.
like good golf.
it's fun.
It's fun. It's fun.
Hold on, Setting Down Creek is in my like top 15, except for the 18th hole.
Bad
It's a
18.
great course, and they ran
Yeah.
out of room.
Yeah, setting down's cool.
I
Have
love
you
that
played
course.
Butler?
I haven't played Butler.
Ooh, that's a big boy course. Real big.
Next year, I think.
I think the coolest course I've ever played, one year during the Wayne Gretzky event in outside of Toronto, it was in this meadow, and it was a par 3 course. It was called Tomahawk, and it was so sick. I was
Yeah?
playing it with my buddy Tom Johnson. We would go play it every day.
Speaking of legends,
And it might have been just the time in our lives, but it was like super shallow greens. Maybe 90 yards was the furthest hole. It was, the greens were in good shape. They were like kind of islandy. It was
Yeah.
just, it was a sick little setting.
If there's a guy that's going to take a positive out of a day, it's Tom Johnson.
Oh,
Just remember
yeah,
how
dude.
beautiful is this? Like, that guy is.
He was the best.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your favorite?
Crooked stick.
Okay.
Oddly
Pete Dye.
enough,
Not done that.
I played it in a local qualifier 20 years ago, and I was just it was the best course I'd ever played at that time.
John
and it
Daly,
just
right?
kind of just stuck there. I mean, the best greens ever. Yeah, just fun,
Kenny
fun
Knox.
finishing holes.
Kenny Knox came second.
17, 18. They got the horseshoe green. Par 5 was that 16 maybe?
Okay.
Don't they have the railroad ties there or something?
Yeah. It looks.
Yeah,
It,
a lot
there's
of
My
a lot of-
grandfather was roommates with Pete Dye in college.
Yeah, Pete Dye, of course.
Rollins
Really?
College, yeah. And Mr. Rogers.
Wait a minute, back up. You're
Mr. Rogers?
My grandfather was roommates with Pete Dye. The year I played a playoff event at that course, what was it called? Crooked Stick?
crooked stick.
It was a BMW one year. I forget what year it was. But Pete was still alive, and he was on the back of the range, and he, like, waddled up to me, and he goes, "Are you Dick Avery's son?" And I was like, "Well, it's my granddad." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I went to college with your granddad, whatever." And my granddad was cool as shit. He used to tell me, "Yeah, I dated Alice before Pete did."
Oh,
This is freaking great, dude.
and then Mr. Rogers was involved somehow too?
Mr. Rogers was also in their graduating class at Rollins College.
What?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
How about the Winter Park 9?
Dude,
Down
that's a
there.
cool little
That
joint.
place is
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
What about the new public one in? Have you played that one in West Palm?
I haven't. I'm dying to
Where
see
is
it.
that?
On the
Fucking
ocean.
What?
No, that's the Palm Beach Par 3
I
is
played
different.
Palm Beach Part 3. What are
Yeah.
you
No,
talking
there's a
about?
brand new one. It's called the Park. Right?
Yeah, Gil and Jim just redid it.
It says if you want to play with caddies, it's like you have to take a caddy to 11, and then it's like whatever. There's like it's segmented. It's really.
It
done
looks
really
like
well.
the sand belt. I mean,
It looks
it's
unbelievable.
crazy.
My buddy
Really?
played. He said it was really good.
Yeah.
Well,
Man, we're
That's
just-
my favorite.
I'm
favorite
a sucker for Par 3 courses.
Par 3 courses and then places that are like under $100.
Yeah.
Did you play the Pine Valley Par 3 when you were up there?
No.
Oh, that place blew my mind.
Did it?
Yeah, we got through about 4 or 5 holes and it started dumping, and I was really hurt that we
I
didn't
mean,
finish.
you're hitting the same exact shot. Like
They
it's
are
like
under-
the par 3s, and then
replica
it's like
holes.
it's like the approach shots basically.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
like the second shot into a par 5.
That's
or-
cool.
They are an talked about part of golf as par 3 courses. They're
They're so much fun.
awesome,
Yeah.
And you're
especially for
done.
kids too. Like get the kids.
Oh,
out
kids
there.
a no-brainer, dude. If UNF,
I know.
what are they doing? Just make a freaking lit Par 3 course, and you
Yeah.
will print money. Print
Yeah.
it.
I'll go there.
Amen.
Good call.
All right, Tron. Thanks so
Well,
much for coming
thanks,
in, dude.
Tron.
Yeah,
that
guys,
was
this was
long.
fun.
That
Love
was
you long
great.
time.
You're welcome anytime. And tell your friends.
Yeah.
As well, come on.
Happily.
All right,
Yeah.
see you, boys.
See ya.